Hello, Floss Tube. Happy day 4 of Flossmas. I'm Becky, the main girl in Arizona. I did forget to say that yesterday, but that's all right. And here we are. I can't keep the candles from growing out of my head. I was scooting all around trying to figure out how to avoid that, but apparently I'm not able to do that. Let's start with the tea. Okay. I got it on the floor. And it's hot. You think I would make it before I want to start filming so that it's not so hot. Okay. Let me show you what it is before I try to sip it. So today is another honey tea. And I don't have the tin because I put it in a pretty tin. So New England breakfast. It is a black tea and it has like a maple flavor. So sometimes I sweeten it with maple syrup, although I'm not a big one for sweetening my tea. So maybe I should just bump it up some other way, but anyway. So it's just a nice smooth black tea, like a breakfast tea, and then, yeah, see my glasses fog up. I didn't sweeten it, so it's a little bit of a faint maple flavor. If I put more maple syrup in, of course it would be sweeter, but then it would have more maple flavor as well. But it just has that nice, well, maple flavor. But I will put that down. Okay. And my cookies this time don't go along with it like they did yesterday, but these are another couple cookies that I make every year. Ooh, you can't see it. There we go. I have my stitching light on behind me. Yeah, they look like brown blobs. They're chocolate. Mexican chocolate cookies. I got them actually from a friend of mine who was vegan and gluten-free, and she changed up the recipe. Well, I changed up the recipe to just make it regular. You can make it with either vegan or vegan and gluten-free, or any combination, or you can just make it regular. So they have some cayenne, some black pepper, cinnamon. I don't think white pepper. Anyway, I'll put the recipe in the box down below, but those are ones that I also make every year. Although they're not as cute as some. All right, so music. Never mind my writing on it. This is Night of Silence. I ran into this first at a choir directors and organists workshop at St. Olaf College in Minneapolis, Minnesota, not Minneapolis, Northfield, Minnesota, where I worked for a while. I worked in Minnesota as an organist at a Methodist church, and so I went to the St. Olaf's conference several different times and picked this up there. It's a really nice original tune called Night of Silence that then is blended with Silent Night, and so half the choir sings one tune and the words, and the other half of the choir sings another. You may have heard it. It's been pretty popular in the last few years. I will post a link below so that you can actually listen to it, but I really like it. I think it could even be done as a duet. In fact, I think I did it as a duet last year or the year before. Yeah, last year. So, as long as both people are strong singers. All right. And I have a little bit of a treat for you today with a book. Today's book. I need to angle this down. The iPad is sitting on my stitching stand. I have it sitting like on the knobs. So I can't really angle it without it trying to fall down. But this is what I have by Julie Peterson. I am a Jane Austen, especially Pride and Prejudice fan. Mr. Darcy's Night Before Christmas. So I'm going to read it to you. All right. I will just show you the pictures. There's the first picture. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and at Pemberley not a servant was stirring. They slept peacefully. A cold snow lay heavy all over the park, while inside Mr. Darcy sat alone in the dark. He stared at the fire and heard the wind blow. From outside there echoed a loud ho, ho, ho. He heard jingling bells and a light prancing hoof. Why, yes, it was Santa on top of his roof. Not doing roof, sorry. Here's the next. First down the chimney came one big black boot, and then came old Santa all covered in soot. Mr. Darcy, he said as he grinned ear to ear, come, tell your friend Santa what you'd like this year. Now Darcy gave pause. His thoughts were a-swirling, with flashes of fine eyes, and ballrooms and twirling. Miss Elizabeth Bennet, far off at Longbourn. As his mind turned to her, he felt very forlorn. Next picture. I have a large fortune and quite a good life, but as a man single, I'm in want of a wife. There is a young woman who's sparked my interest, though I doubt, for my status, that she is the best. Santa furrowed his brow and he stroked his white beard. Darcy's great pride was much worse than he'd feared. What could he do so proud Darcy would know that obeying his heart was the best way to go? Inspiration struck Santa. He chuckled inside. Mr. Darcy, said he, let us go for a ride. You can help me fill stockings on this Christmas night, and maybe we'll find a Mrs. Darcy. All right? Mr. Darcy agreed, and they sprang to the sleigh. With a snap of the reins they were up and away. They took to the sky through the stars in the dark, to the country of Kent, and the grand Rosings Park. There dwelt Darcy's aunt and his sickly cousin Anne. When infants, their marriage had been his aunt's plan. Darcy politely but sternly rejected this notion. I won't marry my cousin for all the fish in the ocean. Despite my aunt's attempts, this I cannot do. Please let us move on, and so off they flew. In London, at the home of the Bingleys, they stopped, and down the chimney Santa and Mr. Darcy dropped. Charles is a fine friend, congenial to all, said Darcy, but he's been subdued since this fall. Perhaps that's because you said Jane doesn't care. But trust me, said Santa, I know you're wrong there. Miss Caroline Bingley, asked Santa, would she do? No, replied Darcy, she's too rude and a shrew. I know she is closer to my life and high station, but her attentions to me are a source of vexation. Very well, replied Santa, she's all wrong for you. Now quick, fill these stockings, there's a lot left to do. They took off once more through wintry London town, and in front of an orphanage landed back down. They softly tiptoed between the rows of small beds, while the orphan children rested their wee little heads. Santa filled all their stockings while Darcy trimmed the tree. He imagined their faces filled with wonder and glee. Mr. Darcy felt cheer welling up in his heart, perceiving it's not what you get, but in part. We must truly love despite fortune or station, and show kindness and concern for all of creation. At this realization he paused and he pondered. Why am I so stubborn? He silently wondered. And turning to Santa, he knew what he wanted. He was willing to take on that challenge, undaunted. Oh, Santa, I think you know the wife I desire. Let's proceed with all haste into far Herefordshire. That's a typo. Hertfordshire. And I know it's not said that way. And again through the heavens the sleigh took its flight until the estate of Longbourn was in sight. Peeking out from the chimney, they saw still one light shone. Look there, whispered Santa. I fear we're not alone. In front of the fire, with her feet all tucked under, Miss Elizabeth Bennet lay sweetly in slumber. Santa chuckled. Though you thought her to be tolerable only, without her quick wit you would surely be lonely. You now find her handsome and tempting enough, but winning her heart may prove yet a bit tough. She'd seen your disdain and has heard Wickham's slander. Tell her the truth about him with the utmost of candor. Now I'll wake her quite gently and give aid to your cause. So Elizabeth woke to the face of Santa Claus. But soon she spied Darcy peeking out from behind. Her eyes narrowed, brow furrowed. Was she out of her mind? This man whose harsh words had caused Bingley to flee, what on earth was he doing by her Christmas tree? My dear Elizabeth, said Santa, I can see you're distressed. We don't mean to startle. Darcy is here as my guest. Please listen to him, and he may calm your fears. Wickham's on my naughty list, and has been for years. Yes, Darcy's proud, but his deeds have been good. I'd say he is quite a fine man, indeed I would. This pronouncement Elizabeth's fears did relieve, for if you can't trust Santa, who can you believe? Mr. Darcy then knelt, for he knew what to do. Miss Elizabeth, he said, I ardently love you. I know this is fast, and we've borne our share of strife, but please do me the honor of becoming my wife. I have learned that what matters is not status and rank, and for that I have you, my dear, and Santa to thank. Please forgive the ungentlemanly things that I've said, and let us make plans for our future ahead. Elizabeth smiled and then nodded approbation. She could feel that Mr. Darcy spoke with great admiration. And Santa was glad that his lesson, well taught, had changed Darcy's heart. His old ways now forgot. Santa left the two right there beneath the mistletoe, finished filling stockings, and made ready to go. Up the chimney he rose and gave the reins a swish, glad to help Darcy get his best Christmas wish. The two at the window were waving farewell as the church started chiming its first Christmas bells. Then they heard Santa call as he flew out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. So, very cute. I read it every year. And this year I decided to share it with you. And what you've been waiting for finally, stitching. So first we have a handmade gift. This was a freebie by Whispers by the Wind, I think. They posted it, I want to say a day or two before Christmas. And I stitched, and got it finished but not FFO'd just in time to give it to my husband who really likes ravens. And I see it's coming apart. All right, it's a little unhappy there. I don't know about some of these trims. Anyway, that didn't really help. So the moon, there we can see. So you can see I made the moon with Krynic blending filament, and then we have the little Krynic gold on the. There we go. That's better. On the things. So anyway, a little crooked on the top. But so that's fun. And then something that I would love to stitch one of these days. This was gifted to me by a friend who used to work at Stitchville, Laura J. Perrin. So this is actually, I guess, needlepoint and not cross stitch, but I mean it's counted threads. So can you see it? There we go. It's a little better. Long winter panel. She's got quite a few different panels, so at some point I would probably do this one and then some others and switch them out seasonally. But I just love blue and silver. Never mind my red Christmas tree, but That's my favorite winter decoration. So there we go. We went for a walk last night and I took some pictures of the neighbors' Christmas decorations, so I'll attach that to the end. Here is another little Christmas treat for you, and I will see you tomorrow. It'll be Christmas Eve.